On your marks, get set, bake.
I love that.
Good flavor.
That I really like.
That is delicious.
Bakers, your time is up.
I said last week I was going to cut that little bit of extra right off right there, which I did in the one I post, but I have not done in the actual video that exists on our website. Hey, welcome to it. It's Patisserie. It's a great British bake-off podcast. It's hosted by me, the Internet's Taylor 713, usually hosted by Nick, Jew, and Ant. But of course, Nick's out this week. She's down with the family. And Ant's, of course, on dad leave. So we probably don't get much Ant this go around. Sorry. You made a whole nother human. And so therefore he has to be on that duty. But the homie Brad is back in the building, riding shotgun. He's gonna do the Nick-esque duties this night. Brad, welcome back.
I will try my best.
Big shoes to fill. But don't ever sleep, bro. The champ is here. It's my homegirl, Mackenzie. I'm so glad to have her back to talk bread with us. Welcome back, Mackenzie.
Thank you for having me back. I'm so excited.
A pleasure, dear lady. I was very pumped. If you saw the messages back and forth between Nick and I, you'd know. I got kids come back. It's so. How have you been? I know because Mackenzie and I are little IG mutuals that you have led a busy life since wrapping up and the win being advertised to the rest of us. But what the heck is going on in your world?
Oh gosh, everything and anything. I am busy as anybody could be, but baking like crazy. I'm still working my 9 to 5, but I'm trying to get to a point where I don't have to anymore. But yeah, I have been doing some great community tables and baking for them, and I did get to film with the Jennifer Hudson show last week with the kids. So that's actually going to air in January.
Very
So
cool.
I am so very excited for that. And I got to do it with my kids, which is amazing because that's how I started baking, in the kitchen with my family. And now I get to do it with my girls. And that was the whole segment with the Jennifer Hudson show, is about bringing traditions back to the kitchen and teaching our next generation how to cook. And yeah, I'm so excited. But yeah, I have been busy, but I'm naturally one of those people that I need to stay busy. So
fair.
Yeah.
I am not, but I'm glad there are people like you in the world because you make it better. So nice.
Oh, thank you. I admit I have taken time to not bake. It's hard. Baking is kind of like a therapy for me. It's cheaper and I get to eat at the end of the day. So get to feed my soul. And yeah, I have gotten more massages lately because I've realized how much baking takes a toll on your body, mentally and physically.
Yeah,
So
I guess beating the crap out of bread and everything else kind of get the muscles aching. So yeah.
Tension, where you carry it, and standing up in the kitchen, being on your feet constantly.
Yeah. And
your back. And I turned an extra year older a couple weeks ago, so I'm feeling it. My body does not bounce back as much as it used to.
Yeah.
So,
Just wait, Mackenzie.
I'm trying to set myself up for success now instead of setting myself up for regret. So, fingers crossed. Yeah. How are you, Brad? It's been so long.
Yes. Since May was the last time we all talked.
I know. Way too long.
We've got to do another Zoom call.
We do. Well, Christmas is coming. We got to keep up tradition.
Yes, we did a gift exchange last year, and we have to figure out how to top that.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we need to work on the reunion.
I also agree. We should reunite for the release of next season.
Good idea.
You should.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get some inside information.
Yeah, and like we should go to New York because I've never been, and we can just all stay with them.
That's fairly close for me. It's only like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's fine. I'll make the trip.
When last we spoke, Brad, you were preparing for your little Toledo journey and to carry forth the Pittsburgh Youngstown cookie table to that neck of the state. How'd everything go out there?
Oh, it was amazing. So I did a 2.5-hour drive on Saturday morning up to Toledo, and this beautiful 100-year-old church. They had this beautiful room with lights strung from the balconies over top everyone. They had the tables were all fancy with like those charger things, and they had a luncheon there, and we did some demonstrations, and then I got to talk, and I did a little PowerPoint on my journey to the tent. And so Mackenzie, you were in it. Your picture was in there. Got to talk about everybody, and it was so much fun, and they enjoyed it, so it went over well.
Excellent.
No doubt.
Man.
How exciting.
Look, now you're all caught up on their little bits that they care to care. We get caught up on. And don't worry, like I said, Brad's definitely going to be like Mackenzie. I'll probably drag her back at some point during the season. It's just what it is. These my folk, and so that's how it goes down, people. But let me give you a bit of a show, which means I got a ton of notes. I want y'all to know, today I happened to notice, to turn my head, was like, how many pages of notes do I write? It's a lot of pages of notes.
It's okay. Notes are good.
It's a 9-page Word document I'm staring at right now. It's a lot of information on it. It gets a little, as it goes on, and the less names appear on it, it gets a little skinnier. But currently, we're still, only a few episodes in, so it's a very long document. But worry not. We'll walk our ways through it. Our little bread-based song titles intro this week was very amusing to me. I am a huge record collector, so any kind of vinyl jokes I'm in for. And of course, my favorite was Purple Green, because nothing like a good Prince pun to make me go, all right. I love me some Allison and Noel, and truly cannot get enough of them. And they have such a good rapport, and I love watching them just make jokes together. And I don't know, man, it's like probably one of the best teams I've seen. I know lots of people are like, I love me some Mel and Sue, and I appreciated Mel and Sue for their time, but there's not been a better set of hosts since them, I guess. And so
I will say that based on our experience filming, based on Allison and Noel, that there's probably 3 more hours of them just joking together.
More editing.
But they give you like a minute. Like, I can't even imagine what they didn't include.
Yeah, right.
So if that made the cut, then I want to see B-roll. I want to see all the other stuff. I need bloopers. Like, where's the blooper reel? That's what I want.
If you have not gotten the opportunity to watch the Great British Bake Off, an extra slice just comes on Channel 4, like I think the next day or maybe that night of. It's kind of like a Talking Dead kind of show. You get some bloopers and some good times, and it's very fun. And in fact, I can make sure I get you a link to that. So worry not. It's legitimately a sneaky link. I don't like that, but our bakers, our remaining bakers in the tent are we got Andy, Christian, Dylan, Georgie, Jill. I said it right this week. Ilyene, John, Mike, Nelly, and Sumaya. But of course, before we get into all of that, I gotta hit you with our little news segment. Our news segment, of course, is known as what? Bakers Make the World Go Round. And now when I say it, I click this button and then watch what happens. Bakers make the world go round. I showed that to my son today, my oldest son today. I was like, oh man, you got to see this. I made this whole video package now. And he's like, I'm like, oh yeah, you know that. You sing on that with me. It's me and my boys singing that song.
I was going to ask you who was singing.
I was there.
Yeah, so that is me and the lads. And we got around a microphone. I don't know if we're using this one. And we whipped that up one day. It's a delight. I pulled this from, I kept seeing it on TikTok initially, and then I happen to follow Simu Lee on Threads, and CNN posted a story about it, and he was like, "Come on, CNN." I was like, "Yeah, you're right, bro. That was a wild little." CNN's title was a little much, but this is from BuzzFeed. So I got it from over at Tasty, their little food vertical, and because beggars make the world round, it's usually about food, and this happens to be food related. Simu Lee is finally speaking out about the bubble tea situation, and his response is kind of surprising. Abby Zinman's on the byline here. Simu has responded to the whole situation as has investor Manjeet Minhas and the bubble tea's business owners. BuzzFeed writes videos weird. Writes their articles weird. It's like a little word, a picture, but I'm going to try to get through this a little easier. In fact, I should probably just share it so you guys can see it as well. So let's just do a little screen share right quick. Yes, I understand I can share my screen. Entire screen. That screen. There's steps, people. Telling you, that's a weird way of writing an article, right? That doesn't start with like an intro paragraph of anything. Okay, but here we go. There's a new addition to an internet debate that's been going viral as of recent. In case you missed it, in a recent episode of Dragon's Den, the Canadian version of Shark Tank, I guess it's just Dragon's Den. Shark Tank is a bite of Dragon's Den, if y'all didn't know. Grab and go bubble tea business brought up concerns of cultural appropriation for Simu Lee, a guest investor on this season of the show. In the episode, he explained these issues to the business owners, and clips of his interaction have since taken the internet by storm. There's also an issue of cultural appropriation, he said in the episode. There's an issue of taking something that's very distinctly Asian in its identity and quote unquote making it better, which I have an issue with. What respect is being paid to this very Asian drink that is blown up around the world, he asked. And is it in your teas? Is it in your product development? Who's on your staff? Who's on the cap table that is providing that for you? The debate is definitely multifaceted with voices on all sides of the conversation. But one thing that's been happening a lot since the clip went viral, people have been calling out the business as well as Manjeet Minhas, another investor on the show that made a deal with the company, which has since been rescinded, but we'll get to that. Of course, they have some tweets in here. And again, if you're watching this, you can see BuzzFeed articles a little wildly presented, but I think they just do it for the ADHD amongst us. Well, it's clear Simu Lee has his eye on the internet debate because he just weighed in again in a TikTok video posted Sunday, October 13th, and his comments definitely bring a new perspective to the table. He starts off by saying, I think we hit on a really important discussion about cultural appropriation, what it is, how it's something exploitative rather than kind of paying homage and paying respect when is that line crossed, forgive me. Simu also expressed his appreciation for the massive wave of positivity and support he's gotten from people from every community. I've been made aware that the business owners have received a lot of death threats, which is wild because about bubble tea, y'all, and harassment, and otherwise kind of bullying and dogpiling. And I just want to say to that, full stop, it's never okay to make threats. It's never okay to bully and harass online, he said. I don't mean that the business owners don't deserve valid criticism, and I don't believe that you should not be vocal about your disagreement. But I think we can all agree, common sense, there's a line, Simu explained. There's a line that you don't and shouldn't cross. There's a line that you wouldn't cross in person. I just don't want the legacy of this segment to be pitchforks and people fearing for their safety. I think we're starting to lose the plot of. I think what ultimately the positive energy of this is, which is let's educate people, let's make the world a better place, let's make people aware that certain things aren't okay from a cultural perspective. He proceeded to explain that how he's been on the other side of the internet dogpiling before and how it's one of the worst things that you can go through. I believe that the entrepreneurs of the business came on Dragon's Den to pitch a business in good faith. There were a lot of things with the pitch that I took issue with, that I disagreed with, and as a result, I pulled out as a potential investor. But that doesn't mean that I believe that they deserve harassment and threats. I think a lot of grace should be afforded to them. They're French Canadian. I think their exposure to the types of cultural conversations was limited. And I also think English was not their first language, he said. There's more, and you'll read more. Links in the show notes already. I've already clipped it and placed it in there. But I was like so happy to see him talking about it. Because I think oftentimes we'll just let people get a walk and they're like, hey man, this is from Taiwan. It's a Taiwanese situation. It has blown up all over the country. It's a big deal. What do you bring to the table to make sure people know that this came from Taiwan? It's a Taiwanese making and so forth. And you're not just going to call it whatever you're going to call it. Because they even spelled it weird. It's like, maybe it's the French spelling, not a Baba. Yeah, it's weird. So I'm like, no, don't gentrify bubble tea is what it comes down to. And that's kind of what it was feeling like. And I'm glad that he spoke out on it, but also spoke out on it in a manner that was like, he's not rude. He's not trying to be a jerk. He's like, hey, these are my concerns and maybe they can be addressed. And if they can be addressed, maybe we can do business. Because he uses that Marvel money to be an investor. And I dig that. So Simu Lee, good dude. Doing good things in the realm of bubble tea, y'all. Well, in the realm of investing and making sure people are doing good things in the realm of bubble tea. And there's some learning to be had there, and I dig him for it, man.
Absolutely.
There you go. A little serious. Not serious, but a little serious.
No, but I caught wind of it. You know, when you're scrolling, things catch your eye. And there was some, I got to give it to him. He was simply like, hey, I'm looking at your can. I just wanted to see if there's a story about, where you were influenced. You can't say like, oh, well, because we package it in Taiwan, then that's enough. It's like, well, it doesn't even say on the can that it's made in Taiwan, or maybe proceeds, maybe 10% of every can goes back to the Taiwanese people. So, right. And you're not talking about anything. And I think at one point he said it's not an ethical issue or problem anymore. And it's like, it always will be.
Yeah.
I can't imagine if someone came to me and said, hey, I'm going to make this Simone steam cake, but I'm not going to call it Simone steam cake. I'm going to call it this, and I'm not going to tell any kind of origin story. I would be heartbroken because it's like, that's a story that I would want passed on. Even if I don't have the capital to launch a business, I would still want my heritage to be shining through this. And not all of us have the opportunity to launch a successful business and have capital. But if there is some kind of cultural or heritage behind it, I would want that to shine through.
Exactly.
That's part of what makes something so special, is to know the history, where it came from.
Especially that could be such a big deal. Like, hey, I'm going to share the story of bubble tea that is just about everywhere. Like, seriously, I can throw a rock right now and catch you a bubble tea around my neighborhood, which is great. But it's nice to share that story and say how this started and so forth. And so why not add that to the situation? But again, like he said, they're French Canadian, own brand of situation right there. So I got a friend who lives in Quebec and always talks bad about the French Canadians. It's a thing. So,
but it does bring up a conversation that I'm glad everyone's having.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly why I brought up on the show. I was like, check you out. Simu, a younger Simu was not. He's a bit of a misogynist, and he'll tell you as much. And like, if you go look him up, he was a much different guy when he was younger. And as he has grown as a person and tried to become a better human being, I like that he's out here fighting a good fight for people, and I just think that's pretty dope. So respect to him and his.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he was so eloquent in the way. He wasn't dismissive. He wasn't argumentative. He literally sat there and said, I'm looking at your packaging. I want to know, where do you talk about Taiwan? Where do you talk about the origin? And he gave them, opportunity. And I don't know what's on the B-roll. Maybe there's more that they didn't show. But and the investor, I was kind of disappointed in the investors. They kind of dismissed him and his comments. They heard numbers and they heard Costco, and that was enough for them to be like, sold, I'm going to partner with you.
Yeah.
And here's Seamu going, no. There's an issue here. Like, and a lot of them just like dismiss them. And I wish that you can still partner with somebody, but still accept what Seamu was trying to say and say, hey, I think your business can grow, but I think there's change that needs to happen within it.
Facts. See,
Yeah.
these is that people. Thank you both for indulging me with that.
Put me on Dragon Den. I'll give you $1.
We're gonna hustle it hard. But we came here to talk about Bread Week, y'all. In Bread Week, we shall talk. All right.
We get my jitters out. Nervous.
Straight. Before I even dive into it, I do want to say this might be one of the best batch of bakers I have seen in years, and I did not have that expectation going in. I was like, "Who is this goofy bunch?" But already by the end of the first signature, I was like, "Ooh, let's go."
You're using the UK version, right?
I think that goes without saying. But to clarify the point,
clearly the British not compared to any other country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about
just them?
It's easy. I just have to say bake off covers all sins. Because it's the baking show on our side of the pond. So, but these people are kind of major.
They brought it. One.
I especially Bread Week. Bread Week is one of the ones. It's where you cut the wheat from the chaff. Here, it's like you can get got on Bread Week, and oftentimes you'll see. Well, in this week we did.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about it. We'll go through it.
Yeah.
But signatures up first. Brad, what can you tell us about the signature?
Signature. So the remaining bakers, 12 identical, tasty, savory buns with yeasted dough, and they had 2 hours and 45 minutes to make Paul and Prue go, oh, wow.
Y'all, Paul and Allison, not Paul, Noel and Allison making buns jokes. Again, how are your buns, Allison? They're juicy babes. It's like, thank you. You goofy people. But let's get to the business of producing some savory buns. Andy is up top. He's going for Maisie's mini salami savory buns. They tell a story how he wanted to make some chorizo buns, didn't have chorizo, but had his daughter's salami sticks in the fridge. Was like, it's real.
Guess that's the benefit of planning out the whole show versus the weekly.
Yeah, you got time to do some things. So chopped up.
They must have better quality meat sticks over there than what we have from like 7-Eleven. I'm just saying, it's like they must have better quality because I can't imagine.
Hey, these were just, in his case, he just said it's salami. We got salami, probably just not in stick form at a local, spot.
It's sort of like mini hot dogs.
That's exactly what it is. But imagine if you will, chopped up mini salami, folded into a dough along with some cheddar cheese and chives, and that good cheddar cheese as in cheddar, as in it's in England, you know what I'm saying? So that banger cheddar cheese, not what we got popping always. So that sounds like he's gonna be pretty good. Ilene's up next. She's going for Jamaican brown chicken savory buns. Cocoa buns filled with Jamaican brown chicken, topped with crispy chicken skin. I was like, what? Say less. Not what she said was not good for the waistline, but great for joy. Now, if a recipe shows up that I'm like, I don't know if I've ever heard of that, I gotta get it for you, the listener, but also for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. So let's tell you about Jamaican cocoa buns. Jamaican cocoa buns are popular staple bread in Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean, made primarily with flour and coconut milk, then slightly sweetened because it's primarily made with flour and coconut milk, just like the popular Samoan coconut bread rolls, aka PANI, Pani Popo?
Pani Popos.
Sweet. Thank you, because your boy did not look. I'm pretty good about finding pronunciation before I venture out here. Like
I'm gonna make some next dish now.
Oh, fire! There you go. I love it. One, I like watching y'all just whip up stuff and take nice pictures of everything y'all cooked up. But if I have any influence on what y'all bake, I'm gonna take that to the heart. All right.
Pani Popos were like my cinnamon roll growing up. While all people got cinnamon rolls growing up, I was given Pani Popos. That was mine.
Dig.
Yeah.
Next up is the boy Dylan, who really showed up this week. I'm going to pronounce this the more English way, but this word is not pronounced this way. I want y'all to know the Korean pronunciation of this word is very different. But we've been saying gochujang, and garlic savory buns. Gochujang infused dough with a confit garlic, and I want y'all to hear what gochujang sounds like in Korean. So let me snag that right quick for you.
Oh yeah.
I had a pronunciation, but of course I didn't think to save it. But worry not. This is really. Oh, hey, wait a minute. This video was not here last time. Let's push play on this bad boy right now. Can I just push it?
Gochujang.
Nah, no, that's not. I want to get this one. It's a proper, it's an actual. Oh my goodness! Hold on, let's see.
We are looking at how to pronounce the name of this red chili paste from East Asia associated with Korean cuisine. We're going to be looking at how to say more interesting food names from around the world as well, so make sure to stay tuned and consider subscribing for more learning. How do you say it? Gochujang.
See, that's not the one I found either. The one I found said it in Korean, and it sounded so much doper in Korean.
The word of the day.
I
wonder if it's any hotter in Korea.
Oh,
speech modification. Gochujang.
Nah, y'all are doing it in English. Worry not, people. If I find the one I initially found, I will simply throw you a link in the show notes. But gochujang is a red chili paste. It's a fermented red chili paste. Savory, sweet, got a spicy little kind of vibe to it. It's popular in Korean cooking, like the voiceover just said. It's made from gochugaru, glutinous rice, meju, which is a fermented soybean powder, and oh my god, yeo girum, which is a barley malt powder, and salt. You got to sprinkle it in there. Confit garlic, because I figured y'all, not that you don't know what confit garlic is, but you might not know, and I forgot to get you a definition. The confit method of cooking involves cooking something in lots of fat at a low heat for a long time. This personal experience, I had confit chicken once at a fancy-ass French restaurant, and it was disgusting. Guess what? Not a fan of confit method of cooking, of preparation. Does not speak to your boy. I hated it.
I gotta see how he did it on the garlic.
And I paid a lot of money for it, y'all. It was bad.
I wonder if he used, like duck fat.
Yeah, in his case, well, in this case, he went with a lot of olive oil, and you let it, and you basically let it cook until it gets just slightly caramelized and softened to almost a butter consistency. And so I get it how ribbons of that throughout, what I'm saying, an already kind of garlicky kind of situation with the gochujang, it could be just, well, in fact, we know it was fly. So I understand why it could be.
Oh, yeah. I love anything garlic, so I'm sold.
Fan, yeah. John is going for Yama savory buns filled with an oregano. Oh, they said oregano like Mark Simpson. Pesto, caramelized red onion, and feta stuffed buns. And I was like, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
He also spoke of his time in Greece and how much he loves hanging out in that area of the world. So I'm like, that's very cool. Man,
I would say I was definitely influenced by him with the pesto and the mushroom. So it's something I want to try, those flavor combos, because that's pretty new for me. So
Samaya is going for sunflower savory buns, milk bread stuffed with spice, Bangladeshi chicken curry with and glazed in a yellow turmeric oil. Nelly is I love when people name their dishes. Jeff, better question: did you get to name them, or did somebody kind of help y'all name them?
No, we get to name them, but I didn't know that that's what we were doing. so I had the most boring names ever. It was like,
Me too.
yeah, it was like Peachtree.
Okay,
Yeah.
given a chance to rename something of something that you would have given a much better title to.
Oh, my cheeseburger hand pies were just called cheeseburger hand pies. I probably would have renamed them some kind of secret something. I don't know.
In-N-Out
In-N-
Burger.
Out and in. Out and in. Yeah, something. I don't know. I was like, oh, all of a sudden it cut, like, I was like, oh, yeah. All right. No imagination there at all.
Fair. Well,
Yeah.
Brad, you got a new name you would have whipped up?
Nah, we didn't get there.
Fair. I'll allow for it. Well, Nelly, now that we know who names these bad boys, went for Ethnic Harmony Savory Buns. Nelly?
Love it.
Love me some Nelly. Don't know if I love that name. But hey, I get you. A combination of her Slovakian heritage, which is her husband's Pakistani heritage. It's a milk bread filled with a vegetable curry, then rolled like a cinnamon roll, y'all. But then kind of cut on a bias, kind of like into wedges. And Paul was like doubtful when she said triangles, but then she kind of explained, was like this, boy. And he like, oh, like Paul was not making sense of a cylinder being cut into triangles. Like, sir, come on, man. Mike is going for, again, this is one of the names I like, Bao Savory Buns. Of course, they're made with lamb, so Bao's and cheap. It's an Asian fusion kind of vibe he's going for here. He's going to season, he's seasoning his minced lamb with cumin, Asian 5-spice, and what else? Rosemary, some other stuff. He just hooked it along with onions and carrots. And of course, he bakes the buns and as opposed to steaming them. So, it's a bao bun, but it's a baked bun. So, not really. There's another bit. Allison going, is this lavender? And Mike like, that's rosemary. And then that entire interaction just made me raw. I was like, I'm glad they redid. She's like, oh, we're going to redo that. And I'm like, y'all two are goofy. Allison, I'm again, love me some Allison. So, in case you didn't know, Jill is going for berry black pudding savory buns. Her filling is nearly 1-to-1 with her dough, and they were like doing the math. Also, that was kind of fly to watch Paul go this many grams of this many grams of this. That's a pound of. I love how they flip from metric to whatever standard. I'm like, we could do that if we ever just learn the metric system over here, which we kind of refuse. Yeah. So this is one thing, but these buns it's going to be Chelsea style buns. They're going to be filled with black pudding, chorizo, goat's cheese, because Paul and that dang S, as opposed to goat cheese, topped with bacon crumbles, and then drizzled in Jill's mustard custard, which I think she just had a good time saying.
She did.
Yeah. Chelsea buns, in case you are not aware. Chelsea buns, normally on the sweet side, Chelsea buns are traditionally made of rich yeast dough flavored with lemon peels, cinnamon, and other spices. The dough is rolled out, spread with a mixture of currants, brown sugar, and butter, then formed into a square-sided log. In this case, imagine all the sweets out and meat in, and you'll be fine. That's what we end up with. Yeah.
Perfect vehicle.
Christian is going for pesto savory buns. It's a porcini mushroom infused dough.
That was the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then it's got some sage, some hazelnut, truffle, and then truffle oil. No, truffle oil, not truffle. So truffle oil. So that's how he makes his pesto. So not a traditional pesto in any way, shape, or form. But it's a kind of a good sounding pesto.
Yeah. I'm like, holy moly, I can use a different oil. Hello.
Different oil, different in this case, hazelnuts as opposed to pine nuts. It's like cheddar instead of Parmesan. I just like, look, this is stuff we have been doing wrong, and it's good to learn that. Guess what? We could probably do it better.
Yeah, try it out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then scrap it, throw it in the bin.
Exactly. What I wrote here, my own personal notes. This man will never live down that first week flavor debacle, as Prue does not trust his bake. This is 2 weeks in a row. She's like, I don't know if I can get down with this until she does. but up front, she's like, let's go. Last week it was, I don't want a mouthful of lavender, and then she loved it. And this week is like, I don't know if I want this 2 different kind of mushrooms hanging out together. It's like, bro, you gotta chill, baby. We will get there and it'll be fine.
Can't be picky in the tent.
There you go. Let's judge this. Georgie is up first. They love the look. It looks appetizing. It's a lovely crumb on the bread. Delicious, great classic flavors. They're nice and punchy. Paul thinks it needed a bit more Parmesan. Nearly handshake worthy. One of the nicest Chelsea buns.
Was that the hand or Pat?
Oh yeah. We don't worry, we're getting there. So now we get something new introduced to Bake Off lore going forward. The newly forged Paul Pat, where Paul just reached out, pats on the shoulders, like, because I was like, wait a minute, you just wanted her to sprinkle some more Parmesan on top, and he like, yeah, basically. It's like, Paul, you wild boy.
I would have been like, oh.
The right circumstances is like, yeah, it just would have been, here, man, fine. Hold on, hit me up. Ilene's up next. Prue's worried about the spice levels because she saw the peppers in the pan. And she's worried they're going to be more higher than she can handle. And my question is, what are they eating in South Africa? They got to be eating some peppers of some sort down there. Come on, lady. Lovely flavor. The spice level is perfect. The chicken's good. The heat's not super strong. They like the crispy chicken stand on top. It's a lovely blend of textures that adds to the bread. It's nice. Next is Mike. Great looking rolls, effective spiral. The lamb is hidden. The bread is tight, but because it's short, it works really well with the filling. So the bread would have been more open had it had a little more proving time, and it just didn't get that time. But it ended up being like a shorter bread that worked well with the lamb. So win-win as it turns out. Prue's slightly disappointed in the filling because she thinks she tastes cumin more than she tastes the lamb. I know I've never eaten lamb. You guys have had lamb? Is lamb something that is like
I probably prefer the cumin.
I love lamb. I love lamb. We have it for New Year's Eve every year.
What made you choose lamb?
I'll make lamb burgers. Like you can get ground lamb and you can make a tzatziki sauce on a burger bun.
Yeah.
Do like lamb burgers, and it's just a flavor that I've always liked, and lamb meatballs, and yeah. You can combine it with bison for a little bit more of a beefy flavor. Oh, I've had all kinds of weird stuff.
Right on.
I've had kangaroo tail.
Yes, Maria. The Hollywood Pat really did make me laugh as well, ladies. Oh man. Did we finish off that one? Hold on. No. Okay. Yeah. I said Prue would have wanted the lamb to show up more, and I as a person who doesn't eat lamb, maybe, but who knows? John's up next. Looks nice and shiny, but unfortunately, because of how wet his filling was, a steam pocket has formed, so these huge gaps in the bun. Prue likes the flavor, but the texture is off, and it's a bit dry. When you cut into it and you look at it from the side, you're like, oh yeah, that is a massive pocket, in fact. And I was hanging out with my lady's whole family this weekend, and her younger sister bakes a lot, and she was like, "Oh, I made these. What did she make? Pepperoni bread." And she said she had that same issue. She said they had that pocket. I'm like, I just watched Bake Off, and Paul Hollywood explained what the deal was. You kind of need a way for that steam to escape, for the bread to kind of stay how it should. They look great, and everybody ate them all. It was like one left when we left, so she was fine.
I think it goes though. Like if you were to bite into it,
yeah,
it would condense on itself.
Yeah,
and the air pocket would almost go away. But because they're cutting right down the middle, it's gonna be more obvious. But I wonder if biting into it would have been different.
Yeah, that's probably. But I mean, I guess that's what it is. They want to see if it, met the brief. And in this case, not so much. So
yeah. That's not a fun thing to come across. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Andy's up next. Prue thinks she could sit there and eat them all afternoon. Now, mind you, this is just some chopped up not just some. That seems so dismissive, but it's such a simple recipe in that my man was like, I didn't have chorizo, so I got my daughter salami, and now it's a full recipe, and I'm like, that's amazing. And it's very soft rolled, has nice flavor, it's well balanced, it's decent, it's well done. Word to Andy. Andy, man, don't sleep on Andy. I'm telling y'all, guys got something going for him. Jill's up next. They like the look of them. They love the flavors. The chorizo works so well with the black pudding, and the mustard gives it a nice light feel and adds to the depth of flavor. Predicts the texture on the bread, quite soft, original, delicious, and witty. Please describe my bakes as witty at any point in time. I would love that. I don't bake enough to earn that, but if I did one day, I'm taking it. Samaya, certainly have the irregular look and variety of shades of sunflowers. Paul, was that necessary, sir? I don't know if it was, but they look beautiful, original, and delicious looking. The filling is delicious. The bread's a little dry because it's a bit under brew, which makes for a denser bread, but the flavor of the curry is exceptional. Nelly, they like the shape. It's kind of giving pizza slice. I'm telling you, imagine if I'm telling you, if you looked at the cylinder and you cut it on the bias, you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Feels like it would be heavy as it looks dense, but it's light in the mouth. Paul likes it, but was expecting a punch when it comes to the flavor. And then she's like, hold on, try that chutney that I didn't bring that chutney out for games, baby. Dip it in there. So he dips the bread, and voila, the kick that he expected from just the bread actually comes from a combination of the chutney and the bread, which I think is nice. And he says, works nicely and it's delicious. So there you go. Oftentimes bakers will make stuff extra, and they don't get no love shown to it. It's just like, look, I asked you to make this, and I'm not worried about anything extra.
Well, was it part of the brief that they had to make a condiment? Because
no, but she thought it worked with what she was baking, so she whipped up a little condiment. But you know what? She did, as did Jill. Now that we think about it, but she spread hers on top of hers. So I mean, so I don't know if it wasn't, but both of them people thought, hey, let's make a little something extra for it, and I think it worked. And it, in fact,
I
it
think
did
it's
work.
great because for people that want that extra kick, they use the chutney. For those that don't.
Exactly.
You kind of get to feed more palates that way.
Exactly.
It was good. He tried it.
Yeah, I'm glad he did, and I'm glad it worked out.
You didn't have to technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian likes the look, though not even. Proves amazed that she did not think the combo of porcini and truffle would vibe like it did. They work well together. You can taste both. Paul was concerned about the amount of liquid from the mushrooms along with the truffle oil would have messed up the bake, but in fact, he got it just right, and they blend nicely together. A decent roll and absolutely lovely. She got better than that, y'all. Dylan is bringing up, y'all. I'm glad in this situation they saved Dylan for last. Paul's looking at him. He's like, "Damn, they look interesting." He goes, "That color and that shape." And then he cuts it. He takes a bite. And he's like, "The crust you have managed on this enriched dough." And you're like, now you just see it trucking at this point. You're like, okay, it's a bit okay. I see what's going on here. Yeah. The color, the flavor is so in your face. And my man had to give a handshake, and the handshake indeed is given. Dylan sitting there. Paul had his hand out for a couple of seconds before Dylan was like, "Wait a minute, what? This is happening?" I'm like, yeah, bro, you earned that. That's 2 times. I wrote my notes. Young Dylan did not know what to do when Paul extended that hand. Paul says he's never had anything like it. It's lovely.
Yeah.
And that he hasn't been surprised by a flavor like this in a long time. And I'm like, they got to have Korean food in London somewhere. England in general, right? That's got to be a thing. Korean food everywhere.
But the mixture of it in the bread.
Yeah.
Right. And the bread looked almost like mini sourdoughs. Like the way that they looked like little mini sourdough loaves. And so to get that crust and then the color coming from the chili paste and then that garlic infused in there, it almost brings like a sweetness to the chili, I think. So yeah, absolutely.
And that color all the way through was just perfect.
Yeah, they really were nice looking, even though he was worried about them. But I'm like, nah, bro, you did a great job.
And they all split perfectly on the top. He doesn't have any rips on the side, and they were all the same size, which is really hard to do.
Yeah, because as Paul's discussing, he starts pulling them out. He stacks 4 next to each other, and they perfectly line up. They are literally all the same size, weight, shape, color, consistency.
I would be curious to know if he put any type of steaming in his oven.
He did. They showed him
did.
the bain marie at the
Yeah,
bottom.
he had the water.
Yeah.
And there's your crust right there.
Yeah. So that's 3 episodes. That's 3 handshakes. This is a remarkable class of bakers.
It is.
Some people are gonna be like, he's giving them too loose. I'm like, no, because you can see he really don't want to give them. So, but in some situations, like he has to give them. Like, if I didn't give a handshake, I'd be wrong. I feel like is what my man's saying. Oh.
Yeah, maybe that's Bradley.
I lost Brad just as I was about to have Brad introduce a segment, which means I get to introduce a segment until Brad comes back. Next episode, technical.
Maybe you have to get some bread.
Yeah. It's a 7-strand plaited wreath. They got 2 hours and 30 minutes to do it. There's more to it. I'm gonna play you a video, then we'll come back and I'll talk to you more about the old technical challenge here. Brad popped back just as I had to slide through the introduction. But do me a solid, Brad. Just explain what the technical challenge is this week.
Bread technical challenge, 7-strand plaited wreath. Paul gave a demo using 4 strands on one side, 3 on the other, and made it look like magic. And that was fun to watch. And what was this? 2.5 hours.
Yep, 2.5. Similar to the taste and bake episode. Similar to the taste and bake of episode 1, we get a Paul Hollywood demo, and like Brad just said, it's 4 strands on one side, 3 strands on the other. But you kind of start braiding from the middle in a way. So you braid from the middle. Did he braid down or up?
No, the outside into the middle, wasn't it?
Yeah, outside into the middle and going down. Flip it, and then the down on the other end it needs to be braided, and then braid it, and you braid that, and then you bring that around. And to what I think we forget that Paul Hollywood is a baker, and to watch my man's show out right quick, like, hold on, let me show you how to do it. It's like, okay, sorry.
So I have a little tidbit for you.
Go on.
So in episode 6 of our show was pretzels as a technical challenge. And so we get to the judging table and Paul starts to talk about how we shouldn't have knocked the air out of the dough. And as we rolled the pretzel dough, the air would have naturally come out, and that's how we would have gotten the length.
Yeah.
And he said, and it didn't make the cut, but he talked about how he needs to start doing demos for technicals. And this show was filmed right after ours.
Oh, it was so obvious how close the show was filmed. I was like, oh, y'all wouldn't even try any. Y'all episode 1 almost was 1-to-1.
So I honestly believe that episode birthed this technical, the way that they produced it. And I absolutely love it because I miss the old episodes from seasons like 1 through 4 when they did the whole history of the bakes, the Mary Berry, Paul Hollywood demos for the technicals. I miss those. So this is kind of a little piece of that back.
Yeah. It's what is missing on Channel 4 in my opinion, and clearly other people's opinions. And it's kind of why I give you all these little side ventures on our own show here, because I like to bring that little back.
Paul needs to flex a little bit. I think we forget.
Like, why not, bro?
It's good because people are like, oh, dang. Oh, okay. Like, I just learned a new way to braid my daughter's hair. I'm just saying, I could do it with bread, but now my daughter's like, hey, that could do my hair. And I'm like, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You don't start her in the middle, though, and flip her over.
Same jokes. I was about just flip your child.
I'll make an Instagram video of me doing that. You're like, sorry, it didn't work.
Oh yeah. So Paul and Prue, of course, there's always a little like, let's taste the technical and talk about why we chose the technical. And Prue was sitting there with that bread. She's like, I can kiss it. And Paul, like, you want to kiss the bread? It's like, you do. It's Bake Off is so much funnier than people give it credit for, y'all. I'm telling you.
Oh, the reins are slowly being loosened more and more. But now I'm curious, are they going to give Prue the same platform for technical?
Yeah, why not let Prue show off if she wants to? I
would love to see that.
Yeah. See what she like, all right, this is what I want y'all to do. Because we discussed it, and I very much did like the taste and bake. Because I'm like, I like that as a part, just as TV. And like this, like I said, it makes for good viewing, if anything else. So
It's a stress for me to F out, that's for sure. Yeah. And I was physically there doing the exact same bake for my episode, and this stressed me out more. So
Yes. How long do you bake Italian butter cookie?
right? Oh my God. Yeah. I still get like, ugh.
Well, again,
yeah, I hope Prue shows off something.
Yes.
She should.
Yeah.
I can't really tell you much about the technical because guess what? They get this recipe, they learn how to do it, and they got to go do it. So let's judge it now. And our judging is as follows. John's up first. No hole in the center, so more like a fancy cottage loaf. It has a requested shine. It's a good color. It's tight though, and that means it was underproved, but it's baked well. Savory's up next. Not bad. It's good glaze, has a required hold, lost a bit of definition in the braids, but it's well baked, light and springy. And I feel like she immediately learned from the previous from the signature to just let that prove a little longer. So it's not underproved. She fixed her previous underproving error and got a good proof on this bake. Georgie lost its way, no definition, but the bake is okay. It's nice bread. Christian lost some of its definition. Soft, it's a bit pale, tastes okay, but again, underproved. Andy, not too bad. Nice strong color, feels light. The braid is a little off, and a bit uneven, but it's a pretty good bake. Nice texture. This man had to start that loaf over again because he added the egg that should have been used for the glaze into the dough. I'm like, bruh, that is 2 weeks straight where he read quicker than he should have. But the fact that he bounced back so quickly in this regard, I dig it. But bruh, last week it was painting the dang chocolate and putting them down chocolate side down. And this week he threw a whole egg. Like, sir, you know ain't no egg in that bread. Stop it.
Oh, it's so easy to do.
I know. I say it as if I know better, but I'm like, look, it's cameramen and camera people all around. It's people, somebody holding a microphone. It's somebody everywhere. It's so much action that I know it's just that easy. And so, yeah.
And the way they list the ingredients, sometimes it just boom, 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 boom. You're just going down the line, and then
mistakes are made, but he fixed it. It's good stuff on it.
Yeah. Impressive.
Yeah, Mike is next up. Braid's not bad. It's nice looking, nice and soft. It's decent. Nelly, they like it. Obvious that they have, and they say plaited before because they say plaits as opposed to braids. But I'm American. I'm gonna say braids, y'all. She made a little braid belt to cover the joint, and they like that. And Paul was like, "That's a lovely way of doing that." It looks good. The definition is there. It's a lovely texture. It's lovely toasted. It's very good bread. Jill. Not much of a hole. The braids aren't long enough, so when they pull the ends together to form the ring, it's not as wide as it should have been, so kind of fluffed up in a way. There is a hole, it's just not, the hole they had requested in the brief. But the definition is there, and the shine overall is okay. They actually talked about this of Jill shine before they even took them up. It's like, Jill, man, how'd you do that? And she's like, she knew what it was. She knew that shine was. She knew it was shining. So respect. Ilyine, some thin bits, some fat bits, but good definition, nice structure, quite open, nice texture. It's just a well-proved loaf of bread, y'all. Dylan, underproved, not much of a glaze, quite soft, needed much longer in the oven, but not a bad crumb. Prue thinks it's delicious, and Paul agrees with that, saying it actually tastes good. So, solid tech overall, nothing ruinous. Just not everyone copied the brief perfectly. Yeah. Our ranking is as follows. Dylan is in 10th, little uneven and underproved. John is 9th. Great definition, but where's the hole? Christian is 8th, Georgie 7th, Mike is 6th, Jill is 5th, Iliane is 4th, Andy comes in 3rd. 3rd, and that guy rebaked his loaf, restarted the whole process, y'all. Dope. Sumaya, really nice loaf of bread, good color, very good. But Nelly is number 1 in technical. The color, the definition, the braiding, all love Sean. And she deserved it. Because guess what? Nelly's amazing. Love Nelly. Nelly's like one of our favorite bakers this go around. She's a hoot. I like that she is what she brings to the tent. So it's a good time to be had there. Brad, let's talk Showstopper, sir.
Showstoppers. This is a bread cornucopia display, huge, at least filled with at least 2 different breads inside that, sweet or savory or combination, 4 hours and 30 minutes.
I think that's my favorite track. It makes me want to dance every time I hear it. In her absence, I would definitely ask Nick Jew if she was show stopped this week. So I will ask you too. Were you show stopped when you saw this presented to the class?
I was.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. Kind of was like, that's crazy.
and Mackenzie, were you shocked at how big those things were compared to how small those ovens were?
Yeah. And I just, every one of us that have been in that tent, all we could think about is how we would do it. And it's like baking that huge of a horn and getting the right structure and,
just imagine the headache.
Oh, there would be a big headache.
Let's
timing, thinking of the timing that they had to think about.
Yeah.
Like huge.
That's one I'm like, yeah, y'all definitely have to practice this over and over again until you get it right. Like, let's try my hand at this again. And so yeah, that makes perfect sense. Let's walk through what our bakers are presenting to the judges this week. Jill's up top here. An all-day holiday cornucopia. It's got a seaside theme to its cornucopia. It should contain onion, and the cornucopia itself, the horn itself, is going to be made with onion and onion and bacon braid? No, so it's onion and bacon braided rolls, beer bread mini loaves, and she's also going to make Devonshire splits. And Devonshire splits was a big thing on last season of Bake Off, and lots of people either love them or hate them. So let's tell you about Devonshire splits, or Devonshire, if however it's pronounced. They're an example of a cream bun or cream roll. They're typically made with enriched dough that is split after baking to cool, then filled with, in this case, clotted cream and strawberries. And I figured I'd about to tell y'all about clotted cream just in case you didn't know what it is. Guess what? I've heard clotted cream for years. The very idea sounds gross to me because I think of clots. Ugh. But clotted cream, as it turns out, is a thick cream made by heating full cream cow's milk using steam or a water bath, and then leaving it in shallow pans to cool slowly. And during that time, the cream content, of course, rises to the surface and forms clots or clouts, depending on what part of the world you're in. Hence the name. Having that bit of that data point changes everything for your boy. I don't know if I want some clotted cream because, of course, I didn't hear the word sugar mentioned once. But hey, maybe the strawberries is doing the heavy lifting there, and maybe we just eat too much sugar in America. Okay, sorry. Maybe. Andy is making New York cornucopia. It's going to be filled with pizza buns, focaccia muffins, and cinnamon pretzels in this horn that he has intentions of painting red, white, and blue. His wife took him to New York for his 40th birthday. He had a good time. They showed a lovely picture together. That's a lovely couple. I'm like, okay, Andy, I see you, my boy. But I was glad I was glad he just kind of took that. He's like, I'm going to take the stem. I'm going to run with it. I'm like, all right, Andy, we'll see what you got going there. John's going with a horn of pride cornucopia. It's a pride colored horn. It's going to be filled with lemon and ginger buns that are themselves painted in pride colors, and cinnamon raisin bagels. when he said it, I love a cinnamon raisin bagel. Appreciate it, really do. But I'm also like, really? Okay, we'll see where we go. Samaya is up next. She's going for friendship and family cornucopia. It's inspired by recipes passed to her from friends and family. The cornucopia itself will be filled with cinnamon and star anise, Mexican concha, and fatille. Am I pronouncing that right? We'll get to it. It might be fatille. Bread filled with feta, dill, and parsley. And the cornucopia itself, the horn itself is going to be spiced with sumac, paprika, cayenne, and garlic butter. It's all decorated with lattice work and flowers. Fatille are meat pies that can be alternatively stuffed with spinach or cheese, such as feta or akawai. They are part of the Levantine cuisine and are eaten in Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, Jordan, Iraq, Egypt, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen. So it comes from that part of the world. Mike is going for Zeus's horn cornucopia. It's a braided horn filled with herb, olive, and cheddar twist, cheese, tomato, and bacon twist, and rosemary fougasse. Now, you know I got to tell you what fougasse is because trust your boy was like, little fougasse. Fougasse is a type of bread typically associated with Provence, as in France. As in, when you hear the term provincial France, it actually means there's a section of France called Provence. But it's also found in other regions. Some versions are sculpted or slashed into a pattern resembling the head of wheat. And that's exactly what your boy Mike did. Georgie, my favorite thing is cornucopia. It's going to be filled with pumpkin and pecan buns, which are actually kind of pumpkin rolls, if you will. And then she filled those with creme pat and just like, okay, girl, I see you. Chocolate and hazelnut babka, tahini swirls are, and all that, spilling out of an autumn themed horn. And we'll get to it in judging, but I just need to tell y'all, it's huge. I see these ovens. I have not seen it. You have touched these ovens, so I know y'all have better, different experience than me. But I see these ovens, and I'm like, how? How did she do that?
I don't know.
For sure.
Everything had to be out of that oven.
Yeah, like it just had to have a single rack in it, and I guess at the bottom, and I don't know, angle it so. It was crazy. When you see it, if you have not seen
like
it,
using the proving drawer, like trying to figure out, because you can only fit so much in the proving drawer, so even timing like what's going to go in there versus what's not. Do I put something in? Do any of these have double proofs? Like,
yeah,
good Lord,
yeah. Dylan is going for a cat. I think he said cat toe cornucopia filled with amaretto creme brulee donuts. Fire. Maple bacon cinnamon knots.
Yep.
And he's going to make just a country loaf, just on the side there, that he's going to make some whipped bone marrow for them to dip in. It's like, what's he, 2022? Something like that?
20.
Yeah, he's a baby. Nellie is making the horn itself, the cornucopia itself is going to be potato and onion bread. She's going to fill it with these poppy seed and orange samosas. These walnut wreaths and sweet cream cheese with cinnamon and lemon, topped with a walnut crumble buns. She said those are her favorite. They would be my favorite too. The bad boys was like, yeah,
that sounded so good.
Yeah. Christiana's going for wildflower delights. The horn itself is going to be an Earl Grey infused dough. He's going to fill that with garlic and Stilton bread orchids. Strawberry and cardamom jam filled Dutch sugar bread roses. Yeah, well, okay. Let's get to the judging. Nellie's up top. The cornucopia is amazing. The detail, incredible. The continuity of color across the bakes, all just fire. The poppy seed samosas are delicious. The bread texture complements the flavors. It's nice, it's soft. The onto the sweet cheese buns. Paul likes it. He thinks the zest lifts it. Very good. They cut a little bit of the horn. Not everybody got their little horn, got a little cut off of it. Some did, some didn't. But they cut a little chop off the horn, and Paul's like, yo, that is spectacular. Give Paul 14 of them. Prue thinks Nellie did a great job. And I just, same. I was just like, she definitely in line.
And they all looked beautiful.
It really just, yeah, she crushed it.
You can tell where people thrive in bread. That is for sure with this episode.
Yeah. Georgie, they love the cornucopia. It's a classic shape. It's massive. The color's amazing. Just fantastic. Prue loves the hazelnut and chocolate babka. It's nice and soft, really sweet and chocolatey. Paul thinks it's luxurious. Great job. The pumpkin rolls have a perfect spice level, but slightly underproved, so a bit dense. The flavor, however, is beautiful. These are all great ideals that were well executed. Mike, they love the horn. A real treat for the eyes. If you see Mike's horn, he it's all braid, so he braided the entire. Like I said, the braids was in the tent this week, y'all. And he came through with them. The olive twister up first. Prue loves them. Good amount of olive, nice and sharp flavor. That's from Paul. The fougasse is next. The rosemary level is perfect. The shape is good. Texture's not quite right for a fougasse. And they didn't talk anything else about the rest of my man's bake. So remember, there's a whole nother bread in that bad boy that they just was like, we'll move on from that and get it. Iliane, they love the look of the bread pouring out of the horn. The halloumi buns, now with a touch of mint, because Paul had mentioned, hey girl, you ever had that halloumi with a little dry mint on it? It'll change your life. And she was like, oh, okay, Paul Hollywood, I'll add a little mint. And so she did. And of course, that's the first thing they eat. And Paul's like, this is delicious. The tomato babka is also tasty with a nice kick. Prue thinks Iliane has done really well. Iliane, forgive me. Jill, really nice job on the look. All as neat as a pen. Y'all had to see Jill's cornucopia because it's gorgeous, right? It has these blue, like wavy lines throughout it. It's like it looks so clean. It's wild shiny. It's stuff that you're like, how did you manage that in the amount of time in that oven?
So not only did you have enough time to do and bake all that, but then the artistic side of it and the finesse that some of them put out.
Yeah.
Combined, you know what I mean? Like, incredible.
Absolutely.
Multiple items in that base.
Flavor, right? Yeah.
Let's see, what she whip up? The onion and bacon rolls are the first thing Prue digs them. She said it's a mild flavor, but it's delicious. Paul agrees on the flavor, but thinks it could have used a little more proving. The splits are up next, and they just like, that's a nice Devonshire split. You killed it. Paul's like, you kept it safe, and you can see it on her eyes, like, is that bad? He's like, no, that's good because you kept it safe, but you did the dang thing. It's a similar thing to Biscuit Week last week. They told her what you did was go with piping because you're very good at pipe work. And so it just ended up looking that much better for it. Jill is a good baker, just a good baker. And that's just what it comes down to for her. My man, Christian. To me, this is me commenting here. The orchids resemble not orchids, but they look like ghosts. And but the roses look good. And but not so much on the orchids, I gotta tell y'all.
Paul agreed.
Paul was like, what is this? Paul simply could not discern that these was orchids. And Prue's like, they're orchids. He's like, look, I know what an orchid look like. And Chief, that ain't it.
They were interesting.
Fair. We'll go with that. See, look how diplomatic you are. They were interesting.
Yeah, a type of orchid going through a certain phase in its life. Let's just say that.
We'll go with that. The Stilton that is supposed to be present in these orchids simply is not present. Stilton, y'all, is a lightweight, kind of funky cheese. So the fact that Stilton is in this bake and not present in this bake, let you know it's not enough Stilton in there. Stilton is just, imagine an extra sharp cheddar. You're heading that way when you get with a Stilton. It's kind of real, like, it's not quite funky, but it is not, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. As for the roses, they are delicious, but that's because they're mostly filling. And Paul agrees. Hey, the flavor's great, but yeah, that's about it for my man Christian this week. Christian, I don't know. He got a handshake last week, so I can't deny the lad. He's good, but he just wasn't great this go around. Samaya, again, this is my own commentary. Once more arrives at the Showstopper, knocking down buildings, y'all. This thing was gorgeous, insane. It's beautiful, like lattice work and flowers, and she painted it with this like iridescent, like probably food safe powder of some sort. It was gorgeous, but though it looks spectacular, and Prue loves the colors, the contours are just kind of dull. You know what I'm saying? They were just kind of like cinnamon, and they weren't really popping. And when you cut them, you're like, yeah, that's just bread. You probably could have. I don't know what I would have done. Again, I'm not ever going to be in this hit, but I don't know. Swirl a little something in there, a little extra when you're especially at Showstopper. But she did design something so amazing that maybe just time was not going to be on her side for that.
Yeah.
It's just not a lot going on in those conscious is what basically Paul says. But the horn itself is really nice and itself spicy because remember, she made the horn with all kinds of spices and so forth and so on. And again, not everybody got their horn, got a little piece sliced off of it. So, or at least they didn't show everyone's horn getting a piece sliced off of it.
Yeah.
Dylan is up next. Bruh, y'all. If everyone was show stopping, or we would show stop by everyone, Dylan stopped the show stopping of the show stopping because he came through gorgeous in a way that is unexplainable. You need to watch it. You need to see pictures of it. I'm like, again, he's a baby. So just a wee child. Paul says I hope it tastes as good as it looks. And to me, it looked pretty damn good, y'all. If I do say so myself. It's exquisite. It's nicely done to Dame Prue. Donuts are first thing up. Nothing like Prue has ever had. And lovely. Paul giggles. It's so good. I love when they like eating stuff and he like, I'm like, yeah, that's it's that kind of food. Prue does a little dance every now and again when she eats something that she really loves. And I kind of love that about her too. The maple bacon knots look special and expensive and taste indulgent. And it's lovely. It's moist, it's soft, and has a great layers of cinnamon to it. It's really nice. Then they cut up this little loaf. Remember, he made a little side loaf, just like a little loaf action. And they like tried in that whipped bone marrow. And Prue's like, I like bone marrow. I don't think I've ever had it whipped. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It was well laid out there, but it just kind of looked like shortening.
Yeah, it tastes better than shortening now. I'll tell you that much.
I'm sure thing. I was just like, but Paul hit it off, and that was like, yo. So your boy, yo.
Serve that at Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Sure.
Oh no.
The crispy, and this is just about this loaf, this little cottage loaf that he put inside there. Its crispiness is just right. Smells great. It's very clever. Paul straight up has to tell Dylan, man, he is a decent bread baker, and that's coming from the man himself. So it's a big deal.
Exactly.
And Andy's up next. Andy was having trouble with his cornucopia as he was baking it. It fell in a way that he was like, it did not do this in practice. So his cornucopia ends up being smaller because basically the front of the horn kind of fell off, sloughed off in the oven itself. And so, of course, they're going to comment on the size of his horn. The horn could have been bigger when compared to the rolls that are, of course, surrounding it. The pretzels are not what Paul considers pretzels. And it's clear to me that he has never been to Auntie Anne's or Wetzel's. But that's his own situation. Because how dare he disrespect
Paul, so.
But these were American pretzels.
Yes, they were. The pizza is okay at first, but it's like once you get through the toppings, it's just like bread, and it ain't really nothing going on there.
It was sort of large.
I find it funny that he's making this horn, this cornucopia, calling it New York, but then putting Detroit style pizza in it.
I think that was just because of how high they were.
Yeah, for sure.
The save.
Just like, yeah, that's Detroit style pizza. Like, sir, don't you disrespect Detroit like that.
The pretzels were cinnamon rolls.
Hey, once Paul said it was like, yeah, that's exactly what that is, sir. Those are cinnamon rolls. I'm like, I guess, but the focaccia is not focaccia. It's a nice, it tastes fine. It's got a good bake to it, but Prue comes in and it's like, look, you can't be bringing me something calling it pizza, bring me something calling it focaccia, and it tastes like, I don't get either of those experiences from what you brought to me. Everything does look good. It's well baked, tastes good, but it's not what you said it is, and that's the problem. The now cinnamon roll, because they decided in this process these aren't pretzels, they're now cinnamon rolls. On the other hand, are delicious, really unusual, and Paul really likes it. Again, send this man to Auntie Anne's or Wetzel's or Hot Dog on a Stick. Get this man some American pretzels so he can have a better life experience with pretzels. He's doing it wrong. John is bringing up the rear. We try to go back and look and be like, is this edit kind of leaning toward like that John was going home? I'm like, I don't think I picked up that John wasn't having a good time until John was not having a good time. Then I was like, oh, yeah. Okay. as John was trying to, well, we'll get there because I definitely have it in here in the notes. But man, John took a turn, y'all. Prue thinks the horn looks fantastic, and it does. The color is good. The shine is very good, super colorful. The colorful buns, they look nice, but just a bit boring. And Paul says as much. And them bagels, y'all, were not bageling. It would seem the issue to Paul is that it was overproofed. And so when they go into the boiling water, the air just immediately comes out of it and they just sink to the bottom. And of course, you don't get a proper bagel. And yeah, that sucked. and it was just a bad time for John. John had to take a moment. He had to go walk off, like he had to catch his breath. It was just so bad. And I hate that for him. But again, Allison, man, that's a lady. That's why you want on your team, people. She goes out, talks to him, explains to him, look, man, I have been here. In my situation, it was on like some dancing show. And she's like, I pretty much knew I was going home, but they told me, hey, just go in there and do it as best as you can, because who knows? Somebody could burn. And Allison is like, somebody could burn something in that tent. And in her case, she said somebody could fall. And so I was like, okay, Allison, she did the same thing when she went and tried and made sure that Jeff was all right when he left last week. I'm just like,
Right.
what a nice little sensitive soul to have on this program. You know what I'm saying? We need that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dig a lady like that. Your star baker this week is none other than Dylan Earned. The Reddit is like, it should have been Nelly. And I get why it could have been Nelly, but I know why it's Dylan. And so my man got a handshake, basically made a whole new bread that Paul's like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then came through with a showstopper that stopped the whole dang show. So
and while he came in last in that technical,
crazy.
They were all close, though. They were all so close. It was no disaster.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody came out of technical just terribly. It wasn't.
That also goes to show how great he did in the signature and showstopper, that if he can pull that out, so we're going last in technical, that's how much he impressed Paul and Prue. And I am curious, because I don't know if it was in the last season or in an interview that Paul did, but he said majority of the time, whoever wins Star Baker in Bread Week always ends up in the final.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. That's dope. I like that. Like I said, bread is what separates the good from the great.
So I am curious to see if
how far young Dylan goes.
Mm-hmm.
Sent home is, of course, John, and I unexpected, because I said I know he's a good baker, but he just this is not the week to not show up, and he did not, and alas, this is the results. And so we don't get any more John going forward, and that kind of stinks. But a great bread week. I was so excited, and I hit up Nick, and I was like, look, if you can get a chance to watch this, just send me a little something. She's like, I can't. She goes, I with family this whole time, and then I got to work, and it's like Nick still hadn't watched this episode. So I'm super excited for when she watches it, and I can't wait for her to tell me what she thinks of it, because like I said,
it goes to show anything can happen in that tent. You can be on point week 1, week 2, and then boom, out. And I think when they interviewed him, he talked about how Bread Week was kind of like his crutch, like his kryptonite. And once you get in your head that you're not a bread person, you start that self-doubt. Yeah, it's just so tricky. And
yeah.
I agree with you completely on that. You can talk yourself out of it.
Like, look what happened with our show. Like, Royun took Star Baker Cookie Week and then out Bread Week the very next episode. And it just goes to show, it's like, you're only good as your last bake. So you start brand new at that next episode. And
our next week, or as of maybe a few hours ago, what has already occurred in England is Caramel Week. And I am never a fan of Caramel Week, because it's always just, I don't know, but I feel like it's less baking than it should be. It's more candy making, But we'll see how it all plays out. I'm excited to watch that episode, and I might watch it sooner than later. You know,
because we didn't get a caramel week.
Yeah.
No.
I need the American version to get the full dozen bakers and 10 episodes because I want that all. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? Roku's like, look, I'm only spending so much and I'm only doing so much and so forth. But I wish they would just come on and give me all of it. Okay. But it's also they have to film it in way shorter amount of time.
Correct. And they can't, for budgetary reasons, I'm sure they can't house 12 of us for 60 days versus 30.
Yeah.
So,
because that's exactly what it would probably end up being.
And the apartment building wasn't big enough.
You guys are doubling up. Somebody's getting bunk beds.
I'm not sure I could have gone past 30 days. I think I reached my max at that point.
Yes.
I get it.
Even boot camp. I can't imagine what boot camp would have been.
Oh no. That would have been worse than being there for that long.
Because I think for the UK version, for British version, they get their brief week at a time. So like last week after bread week, they were giving caramel week, I think, or week ahead. Like it's us, we were like shoved it all in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, theirs is split up a little bit more. And then they get to go home for their week and then they film on the weekend.
Yep.
So yeah.
It's a different process. All right, people. Help me come up with a question of the week about bread week. Just marinate on, think on it, let it come to you. What would you ask?
What is the strangest flavor you have ever had in bread? When we look at Dylan's bread this week and Paul being impressed by the flavor.
I'm going to go with strange flavor you've had and enjoyed. I think that part matters. In bread. Excellent. Well done, sir. All right. What's our poll this week? What are we asking the people?
I would love to know like what savory bun they would want to taste or recreate out of the tent, because there's some really good ones. I know a lot of people are going to say Dylan and stuff, but a lot of them were about fusion. So fusing cultures and stuff. So I'd be curious to see like what culture they would bring to a savory bun.
Ooh, that's a
good their flavor profile. Yeah.
Savory buns. Excellent.
A lot of our baking comes from our world travels, our friends, our family, the restaurants that we visited. My goat cheese blackberry rolls were inspired by a salad that I eat at a restaurant here in town. So we get influenced every day by people we meet, cultures that we learn about, food. So, yeah.
There you go, people. Look, we made a whole show. Isn't it a delight? Look, I have lots of other shows that I do at this point, but this is my favorite.
I'm hungry now.
It's all good.
Me too. I have pumpkin cookies going in the oven soon.
Nice. See, look at that. Like I said, I'm always baking, people. I want y'all to know. So let's get down with the get down here. Our missing people this week are one Nick Jew. Please go follow her on the in the internets wherever you can find her. It's of course the 216's own Young Tatum 216 everywhere on the internet. If you can follow him, you can see his baby. He always puts pictures of the new guy up. It's fun. Brad, thank you so much for coming through again. Brad coming off the bench to help host with me this week. Thank you so very much, sir. Thanks for being welcome. There when needed. It's good to have you. What do you got going on in the realm of baking that people might be able to take advantage of sooner than later?
Thursday night, if you're in Youngstown, Ohio, go to Penguin City Brewery, an old steel mill converted into a brewery, and there's a night market in the back in the ballroom. In the ballroom is this big cavernous old steel mill with a 30-ton crane over your head.
Oh, wow.
And a mirror ball.
Oh, there you go. Go get some. You see, you could be eating these bakes that we've been talking about, y'all. Get down. Miss Mackenzie, thank you so very much for coming through and kicking it with us. It's a pleasure to have you back once again. What, if anything, have you got going on, and where can people follow you if they're so inclined?
Yeah, Instagram, Ummu Bakehouse. Ummu, I changed it. It used to be Sweet Mackenzie Bakes. That's Ummu Bakehouse. Ummu means oven in Samoan, and it's actually part of my maiden name. It has been my life, my entire life, and who would have thunk? I've been there this whole time. But yeah, I got a big Halloween baking this week. I'm going to be on local KUSI for on October 30th, which is our local news station, talking about spooky desserts. So yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, I'm just baking. Yeah, and eating. I'm interested. I want to see what I can do with leftover Halloween candy if there is any.
Oh, hell yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Cookies, a cake, or something. Yeah, that all. Yes.
Well, not only that, but like come November 1st, all that goes on sale. Grab it off those shelves. You can. The Snickers looks like the same. You're not eating the package, so put them in the freezer and save them. Like the Oreos, like come on,
These don't get titles, but if they did, the title would of course be "The Snickers Look the Same." Make sure you follow them both. They are a delight, and they're just it's just fun to keep some bakers in your life, people. It's good stuff to have. I want you to know that.
It's a sweet life.
Yeah, that's what you got better than that there.
Sweet life and sweet people.
Yeah.
See what you got better than that there. I am, of course, the internet's Tayrell 713. We'll bake again next time. Until then, peace.
What happened to your ass? It used to be beautiful.